If you ever eaten something so addictive that you just can't stop, there's a pretty good chance that it might have been MSG triggering that effect in you. MSG has been really controversial lately, with a lot of dietitians coming out and saying it's completely safe, and then a lot of other people in the holistic health community saying that it's really dangerous. So who's right? In this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the current science and my personal opinion on MSG. But before we dive in, hit that subscription button so you don't miss any new videos when they come out. So what is MSG? MSG stands for Monosodium Glutamate. Glutamate is an amino acid that's naturally present in the body, but MSG is a man-made compound designed to give food an umami flavor. Some of the negative symptoms of MSG consumption that have been reported are seizures, rashes, irritability, forgetting simple words, mood swings, achy joints, pain, headaches, and migraines. Now, MSG can actually be tricky to find in your food. It's not always listed as MSG. Here's some other terms to look for when spotting MSG. Processing aid, protein isolates, smoked flavoring, gelatin, natural flavorings, maltodextrin, and hydrolyzed or autolyzed protein. If you want a full list of potential names for MSG, I'll put a link in the description box below where you can download a free PDF of all of the names of hidden MSG. So let's move on and see what the science says about MSG and if it's dangerous or not. Now we know that MSG works on the glutamate receptors in the brain and helps release neurotransmitters. This can play a vital role in normal physiology as well as a pathological process. Glutamate receptors have receptor types that are present across all of the central nervous system, but they are especially numerous in the hippocampus, hypothalamus, and amygdala, where they control autonomic and metabolic activities. Now here's the deal. Results of both human and animal studies have demonstrated that administration of MSG, even at a low dose, can be problematic. You'll be able to find a link in the description box below to a meta-review and analysis. Now this is where scientists break down numerous different studies. So in the review that I'm going to link, you can actually see various studies across the board that all show toxic effects of MSG. So this is why I'm personally not a fan of MSG. Now the average intake of MSG per day is estimated to be between 0.3 and 1 milligrams. These doses have been shown to potentially disrupt neurons and produce abnormal behavior. Insulin resistance and reduced glucose tolerance in rodents due to MSG consumption also raises concern about the development of obesity in MSG-consuming humans. MSG can also cause hyperpalatability of food. Remember in the beginning how I said it can make the foods addictive? It makes it really hard to stop eating once you start. Studies have shown that it can impact leptin levels by disrupting the hypothalamus, which can lead to even more overeating. There's a study done on MSG and obesity that looked at inflammation. Now in this study, they saw that MSG triggers something called interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is an inflammatory molecule. They also saw a triggering of something called tumor necrosis factor alpha. Both of these are highly inflammatory molecules. Now an elevation in these two inflammatory markers also led to an increase in leptin, which we just talked about controls your hunger, but also impaired glucose tolerance, which could lead to type 2 diabetes, obesity, and metabolic syndrome. In the same study, the authors also found that MSG decreased liver transaminases, which can indicate liver damage. Now, if all of this wasn't enough, human and animal studies have also shown that MSG can have reproductive effects as well. And finally, there's also been a concerning connection between MSG and asthma. Now, at this point in my research, I honestly had to stop and sit back and think about why on earth anyone is confused by this and why is this controversial. It seems to me like it's maybe a bit of a slam dunk that MSG is not a great idea. I even stopped long enough to watch a famous dietitian's YouTube video where she discusses how MSG is perfectly fine. Now here's where it gets interesting. I scrolled down through her disclaimers and I noticed that her video was actually sponsored by an MSG company. That's when things started to make a lot more sense. We always need to see who is funding things, who is funding the research. If the research is funded by an MSG company, it might be a bit skewed. If the video is sponsored by an MSG company, the video might be a bit skewed. Now, no one is sponsoring this video, so I'm just here to talk about what I found in the literature on MSG, and I don't think it's very good. There's also nothing really that positive that MSG brings to the table besides flavor, and I think there's a lot of alternatives that we can use to enhance the flavor of our food. Therefore, I don't think that we need MSG in our diet in any way, shape, or form. Now remember, MSG has the potential to cause obesity, leptin resistance, migraines, neurotoxicity, central nervous system issues, and reproductive issues as well. So for me, it's a hard pass. Don't forget, if you want to find out where MSG could be hiding in your food, click the link in the description box below to get your free downloadable PDF of all of the hidden names of MSG.